Zoom board meeting, but remains to be seen. Sylvette, do we get us started with a roll call?
Sure. Brian Haynes. Chuck Duncott.
Here.
Mike Dowd.
Here.
Frank Facciano.
Here.
Glenn Geisinger.
Present.
John Hayes.
Here.
Ron Heckman.
Here.
Larry Hemberger.
Present.
Jeff Matskin.
Present.
Glenn Riebman.
Glenn's on mute, but he's here.
Okay, thank you.
Present.
There you
Hear
go.
that? All right.
All right,
Present.
thank you. Ted Rosenberger. Mike Stershik.
Here.
Matt Turk.
Here I am.
Chris Worley. And Tara Zrinsky.
Here.
All right, thank you, sir. We have a quorum.
Very good. Excellent. Welcome, everyone. Sylvette, do we have any public comment today?
We do not. No public comment.
Very good. Thank you. I'm going to move us along here so that we can get our update from Tom. There are not a ton of reports or not a ton of action items coming out of committees from Thursday. So we'll move pretty quickly through the business items here. First is approval of minutes from our April 28th Board of Governors meeting. Hope you all had a chance to review. I'll take a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you, Tara. All in favor of approving the minutes of April 28th, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. The minutes are approved. Thank you. We'll move on then to our treasurer's report. John, do you want to walk us through that quickly?
Yep, I'm going to ask Todd to walk through.
Okay.
Thanks.
Going to pretty much walk through what we talked about as a committee. Again, this is the year-to-date. We're going to go over the monthly stuff in exec session, but you can kind of see where we are versus budget. We came in a little bit ahead of budget year-to-date, and a lot of that is based on we had a mild winter, even in spite of the COVID stuff for the last month and a half. We had a mild winter, which helped us out significantly going into April. So go to the next slide there for that. Again, you can kind of see the big deltas. We've done a really good job of kind of managing our personnel costs. You know, almost $800,000 of savings there. But then you get down to 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. That's revenue. You know, that's just based on, 95% drop in traffic that we had in April, which is reflective in the year-to-date numbers. So again, year-to-date, we are within budget, and some of that variance is on our depreciation because that was one of our cost containment measures. Considering we've been in a pandemic for the last month and a half, the fact that we are within budget at the end of April is a positive. And the rest of the stuff I'll go over in exec session. Any comments? I don't know if anybody heard me. Any comments? Okay.
No comment.
I'll move to accept the report.
I'll second.
All in favor of accepting the treasurer's report, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Glenn, do you want to walk us through the Finance Committee meeting and the audit that we received?
Absolutely. There we go.
Thanks.
So, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did receive the audit back from the auditors. There was a clean audit. There were no exceptions whatsoever on it. We looked at all of the major items. The only notable item, I think, is that the GASB regulation was delayed because of the COVID. All of the asset decreases and increases are indicated on the financial statements. And I think most of the people in the committee meeting, so I don't know that there's a particular item we want to go over, but it was a clean audit, and I think it's a testament to staff, to Todd, and to all the people internally worked very hard to get an audit through in this environment, and as well as our auditors. So I don't have anything else on that, Mr. Chairman. If there's anything you want to highlight in particularly, or Todd?
No, I'd only point out that I'd second your statement that this is a credit to our staff working through an audit in not ideal circumstances and delivering yet another audit without any findings. It's always appreciated to be able to count on your administrative staff, and we've come to expect this now. So much appreciated. I know we have Scott from Crow on the line. Is that correct, Todd?
He's supposed to be on the line. I don't know if he was on earlier, or was it, is he on?
Yes, I'm.
Oh,
this
is
is
he?
Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah, I thought he was
Thank
on.
you.
Okay.
Good.
I don't know if any of the governors had an opportunity to take a look at the draft audit. If there are any questions that anybody would like to ask, Scott, he's available to us here. Otherwise, I think we'd take a motion to accept the draft audit as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the audit as presented.
I'll second.
Thank you, John. All in favor of accepting the 2019 audit from Crow as presented, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Very good. Thank you, everybody, on that one. Excellent work, again, Todd and the team, and looking forward to another clean audit this time next year. We'll move to our business committee meeting then, and Mike, you've got a few items to ask the governor's approval for.
Thanks, Matt, and I think we should move through these all really pretty quickly. So thanks both to Ryan and Darren for taking.
Mike, we're having a little trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry. Let me say first thanks to Ryan and Darren for the work they did to bring us to this point. And the first is the approval of ABE minimum standards. And it's one of the things we talked about that's really part of our whole plan to be the premier mid-sized airport in North America. And I think Ryan can take us through this.
Actually, I got that one, Mike.
Move it.
This is Darren, Mike. I got that. The minimum standards. So yeah, I mean, I don't think we have to take a lot of time. We answered some questions at the committee meetings, but basically this is just setting standards for commercial operators at ABE. Just it ensures that we're getting safe, efficient operations. Everybody's being treated, uniformly in a non-discriminatory manner. Pretty common for airports. Mostly, a lot of larger airports have these, or most larger airports have these, and more and more airports are doing them. It just protects us and protects our customers at the same time. So they were in the whole list of minimum standards is in Novus. We will be working with some of our current users to become compliant. Some of them are not compliant, but we'll give them, plenty of time, at least a year to comply with what they're out, where they're out of compliance. So I'd gladly answer any questions.
Darren, just for the benefit of the board, so this is something that is kind of a standard for many airports. This also sets the stage for us to upgrading our rules and regulations, correct?
That is correct. Yeah, that'll be the next step then is a new rules and regs update that will come once we have these. These will actually, basically these become incorporated into our rules and regs to some end, so.
Excellent. And this is a 1.5-year project?
Yeah, about that, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Anyone else? Take a motion to approve those ABE minimum standards then as presented.
So moved for the committee.
Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Second from Tara,
Yeah.
appreciate it. All in favor of approving the ABE minimum standards, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the standards are approved. Next, Mike, you're gonna
So the
introduce
next one is
the,
an issue that we have addressed on and off pretty regularly in the past couple of years. But we need to approve amendments to the Rockefeller purchase and sale agreements for lots 5A and lot 6. And Darren can update us on all that.
Sure, thanks, Mike. So, basically, as we're working on the deed of release for Lot 5A, the FAA is requiring us to have a second appraisal and a review appraisal done because the sale price is over $1 million. We had hired an appraiser right directly before everything sort of shut down, and then he went very quiet. Interestingly enough, I actually heard from him on Thursday after the committee meeting, so he is now back engaged, so that will help us to move this along. But basically, we're asking to extend both of these agreements with an expiration date of December 31st of this year, or they expire 30 days after we receive deed of release, which we would anticipate long before December 31st, but so we don't have to keep coming back here if there are other hiccups and things. It just makes sense to extend it until the end of the year. We would anticipate closing sometime in the September timeframe if things stay on schedule from here.
what are the possible roadblocks to closing by September?
I mean, honestly, just if for some reason we can't get the appraisals done that we need, if there's something else that throws those, or FAA taking extra time. We have seen the initial comments from FAA already, which were very brief and not much we have to address, so we don't expect that to be a problem. And they understand we want to keep this moving, and they are definitely on board with that as well. So we don't expect it to go past September, but I didn't expect it to still be going this long either, so.
But it should definitely be wrapped up by December 31.
Yeah, we certainly hope so. If not, we have probably bigger issues than just getting appraisals and things.
Good enough. Take the motion to approve the extension of the agreement of sale with Rockefeller from the committee.
So moved.
Second from Frank, thank you. All in favor of approving the amendment to this purchase of sale for lot 5A and 6, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to approving the amendments? All right, amendments are approved. Okay. Final item then, Mike.
Approval of the PennDOT direct funding channeling agreement. That's another relatively pro forma statement that the staff can address for us. Talks about dovetailing PennDOT and FAA funding together.
Sure. Yep. Thanks, Mike. Afternoon, everybody.
Ryan.
Yeah. So this is updating an agreement that we've had in the past. It expires at the end of June. But basically, based on the PennDOT channeling authority, we're required to get approval from PennDOT prior to applying to any federal agency for grants. So what this agreement allows us to do is apply directly to the FAA for our grants. It streamlines the process. It makes it more economical. And at the end of the day, we end up sending the same grant applications to the state, so they have copies for the state share that's typically provided around the 5%. So we have it basically accepted by the board, and then it's signed based on the signing authority that was recently updated back in February. So with that, just looking for approval to accept the agreement.
Do you have any questions?
Nope.
I'll move this forward.
Second.
Thank you for the second. All in favor of approving the PennDOT agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, very good. The agreement is approved. Thank you. Any additional items from the business committee, Mike?
I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Tom, you have a report for us?
I do, Mr. Chair. Thank you. So the air service look for April, again, is discussed about just under 97% reduction for the month. We did see cargo up 54% and continues to look strong for us. In terms of items that have occurred since our April 28th meeting, during the month of May, a number of airport authority staff submitted notes and cards to St. Luke's and Lehigh Valley Health Network patients and caregivers as thank yous and congratulations. And we appreciate all the work that the local hospitals are doing in regard to the pandemic. Certainly, then again, on May 6th, we participated in a national Facebook Live music festival that featured local performers. And Kendall Conrad from our Music in the Airport program represented the Lehigh Valley, and I think she did represent very well. May 7th, we also participated in a WebEx that was hosted by the Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency to learn a little bit more about COVID-19 expense reimbursement through a FEMA disaster recovery program. So we continue to look at that and track those expenses related to the pandemic. On May 13th, Todd Quan and myself were before the Lehigh County Commissioners General Services Committee, and we did receive a approval of a resolution for our bond reissue. And the following day, May 14th, we were actually visited by Air Force One and President Donald Trump. He also landed here the same day that Allegiant began service to Chicago Midway. Although there is no correlation there. So, May 18th, the TSA security checkpoint started opening earlier here at ABE based on flight schedules. So the TSA checkpoint is now open at 4:15 every day, and they continue to track that and monitor that. And then on May 21st, the Northampton County Council's Finance Committee also passed a resolution approving our bond reissues. So I do have some additional items to cover in exec session, but that concludes the public portion of my report.
Thanks, Tom. Just real quick, I mean, in general, how was, obviously we saw in the paper, anybody who's reading the paper got the situation report from Colin that traffic was down like 97% in April. How is May looking very generally?
Sure. So we're, again, like you said, Matt, 96, 97% down in April. At this point, we are trending about 83, 84% down, which is actually a little better than the national average. National average is about 87, 88% down. So certainly we'll take movement in that direction, and certainly better than national average.
Yeah, absolutely. Can only go up from here.
That's it.
We hope.
We hope.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Anyone else have any other questions for Tom? All right, I will move then to our solicitor's report from Judge Friedberg.
Good afternoon. I have nothing to report. I think we'll move forward as expected. Nothing exceptional to report.
Okay, very good. Ask for any new business. Does anybody have anything for the board? If not, I think we do have occasion to move into executive session to receive an informational report from our executive director that may contain matters. Judge, are there any other items that we may wish to consider in executive session?
I don't have anything to present in executive session. I do want to note that Mr. Stout is going to provide information. There's not going to be discussion or voting on this information. It's purely an informational session for us. And if there would be any discussion or voting on these topics, we come back into public session for that.
Thank you, Judge. I accept a motion to move into executive session then.
So moved.
All right, a second, please.
Second.
Thanks, Glenn. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Executive session it is. Thank you.
And
So that you'll give us the high sign when we're
Okay.